Sorry. Okay, everybody, so calling the meeting to order at 6:09 I have. So we will start with attendance. Elaine Breslow.
Present.
Steve Brown.
Here.
Catherine Harvey is here. Susan Hobson
Putziger is here.
Alex Viteri.
Alex.
Are you here?
He's muted.
Okay, Alex is here. And Brooke Jewell.
I'm here. Thank you.
I'm
here too. I'm here too.
Okay, great. So we're just missing Carolyn Coffey, Mary Lou Lawrence, and Megan Brinzy, right? And
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So take it away, Bronwyn.
Okay. Oh, do you want to do the minutes?
Oh, right. Minutes. Did everybody have a look?
Yes.
Questions, comments, feedback?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Now take it away.
I don't even know where to start. It's been quite a month. We had a lot of things going on. I'll just kind of work my way down the list. The hours change is going fine. Thursday evening seems to be the only real problem where people are not aware that we're closing at 5. But we haven't had any real issues except for sometimes there's kids that have been dropped off and they're waiting for a ride. So the other day, Angela ended up staying with someone and the dad was like, I'm just getting off the boat. I'll be there in a few minutes. So she waited with the boy. Normally it's not a problem, but if a staff member can't stay, then the protocol is to call the police and they'll come and stay with the child. I think it will get better as people get more used to the idea that we are closed early, so. That's the only issue that we've heard. I haven't heard any other negative comments, so that's really great. We were closed for a couple of days with the storm. The good news is the roof did not leak at all, which is a minor miracle. There was a huge problem with Osgood. There was a feet of snow on top and they had to hire outside contractors to come and get it all off. And Nick was saying the other day that they didn't go down to the bare roof, and then even that, when it started melting, it got really, really heavy, so they had to come back and get the rest of it off, so. There were a lot worse problems than we had here, so. The biggest issue for us is making sure that the parking lot is cleared and the sidewalks. They didn't do that front sidewalk from the pull-in for a while, and it was a couple feet deep, and so people had to go all the way around and walk in the street, so that wasn't great, but they got to it as soon as they could. Other than that, we've got the annual action plan. I don't know if anybody remembers the annual action plan. I remember Jackie was very adamant that it had to be written every year, and it's a tool basically that you take, the goals of the strategic plan and you say, well, how are we going to get there? And so you have very specific, each department will have, take the parts of the strategic plan that matches up with their department, and they'll come up with, goals and ideas of how they're going to get to that place. So Jen's decided to put it together again, and it also turns out that in order to be eligible for grants, you need to have one on file with the MBLC. So I'll share that when it's completed. It should be probably by next month.
I'm assuming there's a deadline for that?
Well, it was due in the fall for this year, and she's talked to them and they're like, you actually can just submit it anytime, as long as we have it on file, then it's okay. So she'll probably have it finished, I'd say probably in the next couple of weeks, so I'll share it at the next meeting, so everybody can kind of get a feel for what we're talking about. I think it's kind of helpful because the strategic plan is so broad, and it'd be easy to just wait 3 or 4 years and then start working towards the goals, and so it's better to have it broken down into annual plans. Programming outreach, we're doing a lot more joint programming. There's a program, that's why Angela's not here, there's a program that we're running with Safe Harbor that is about the teen brain, and she has 2 boys that are almost teens, and so she's like, I want to find out what is going on. So it sounds really interesting. I think it's someone from Mass General that's coming and talking, and it's I think a really informative program. So we've just been kind of finding ways that we can work with the other departments and come up with interesting programs. So then the finance situation, I don't even know where to start. The pavilion issues, we got a second invoice for $76,000. The first one, I think it was for 179, I think. So we've already paid that one. That we used CPC funds because the CPC grant was in over 2 years. So the first year that we were given the funds was a few years ago, and so you don't want to wait too long or they will take it back. So we did that, and then this payment, the town treasurer said we should use CLT money because there's rules about how much you have to spend a certain amount based on how much you're bringing in. And with all the fundraising they've been doing, they've been bringing in a lot more money over the last couple of years than just donations or things like that. So we're charging it against the funds that the CLT earned or brought in. So that's caused this whole other issue of, well, what's the process? Who has to sign off on the CLT money being spent? And I've talked to the town accountant. She's not 100% sure. The CPC bill, we had the architect of the pavilion had to come in and sign it. And then we had Michelle Leary because we felt, well, someone from the town should sign this $180,000 bill. This time around, Beth, the town accountant, feels like CLT board members should sign the warrant. Because they're authorizing spending that money.
I think that makes
So,
sense.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see any problem with that.
yeah, so, we had it all ready, and then I just came back in at about 5:30, and Beth had sent another message saying, wait, well, why don't you write a purchase order, then Michelle can sign the purchase order, and that will have a town person authorizing it, and then make the warrant, and then have the CLT people sign it. It's complicated,
Yeah, it's
maybe
a little
unnecessarily.
convoluted
Why does
I mean,
that?
'cause that's like
an extra step.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it feels like you're writing a purchase order for a project that started,
Right,
we engaged
right.
Danelle like a year ago.
I
It
know.
seems kind of silly, but
I know,
whatever,
but it's- yeah.
listen, if that papers it the way that they're happy with, then
Exactly, that's
what's the harm,
our
I
take on
guess.
it. It just makes it, then the question is, well, how many board members have to sign it, and which board members? Is it people who are involved in the fundraising? Is it investment advisory people? Is it the
I wouldn't
board
think it would
chair?
be-
Who would, yeah,
I wouldn't think it would be the investment advisory committee. I would imagine that, well, they have to decide, I guess, how many they need, but to me,
Yeah.
it would make sense for it to be the board members who, I guess, who were, who voted on, God, I don't know.
I know, so
Yeah,
it's-
because
yeah.
we raised it specifically. It's not a drawdown from the endowment,
Right.
so.
Right, but is it invested? Do they have to sell the $76,000?
I don't think so, no, I don't think so. I think it's in a separate account. I wish
trust.
Carolyn was here, cause she would know.
Yeah,
I don't think it was invested, no, I think it's in a
Okay.
separate account, but I don't know for sure.
okay, okay.
I don't know. Brooke, do you know the answer to that? She's on the CLT board, as is Alex,
Yeah.
but Alex just joined.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
okay,
So,
so, well,
does
once
the board have position, like chairperson, president, vice president, treasurer?
I mean, yes, but it has turned over
I
fairly
don't
recently.
even know who's, I mean, I know
I
I
think
talked
so
to Cindy
Brooke is the
fairly
president
often.
now.
Brooke is the
But
president.
that just happened.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm here. I don't know if you can hear me,
yeah,
but I don't know the answer to your question. Sorry, I'm
okay.
still new
Yeah.
too. figuring it all
I
out.
mean, it's a little frustrating because I feel like we probably, I don't even know who, but someone, we should have worked all this out far in advance of, you know, what is the process going to be when we start paying, when the bills start coming in? Who has the authority to authorize,
Right.
you know, $76,000 to be paid? And, I don't know the answer to that. And so, you know,
Just a general question. Does it feel to you that the bills are appropriate for the amount of work that's been done? Or
well, that's
we,
the other question is, I'm getting them. I don't know exactly what they say. So the architect is supposed to come and look. And
I
so,
see, to check off.
so there's I don't think I have the bill with me. Maybe I do. It's, yeah, okay, here's one of them. This is the most recent one.
So if so
Oh, no, this.
you're
yes.
not aware of an account holding the CLT funds?
So. I think it's in one of the two bank accounts the town uses, either Hingham Institute for Savings or Rockland Trust. I think it's in.
That's what, that was my thought also,
Yes.
that I don't think, it's not commingled with the endowment at all.
It's not supposed to be.
I don't think
So-
it is.
So the problem on our end, to write
it's ready to meet your,
to write a warrant, the town has to open up an account in, it's called SoftWrite, the accounting software. And they have to assign an account number to it, and then we put that in, and then we put the $76,000, and that way it comes off of it. The town accountant opened the account, but put in $2,700,000 and something dollars because she thought we were talking about the balance of the endowment.
Oh,
So
yeah,
then she wanted to open the account and put in $100,000 because her understanding was that, because she's confusing what the CLT has said as a backstop, they would then sell if we really needed it, the $100,000.
right.
And I just sent another email, I explained it, I don't know how many times, and it's getting super frustrating. I think the balance, I don't even know the exact balance of what has been fundraised, I think
Mhm.
it's around $270,000.
That sounds about right to me. Yeah, that's
But
sort
it
of the
needs to be an
ballpark.
exact number.
Right.
So I don't have that number.
So we don't know where the account is or who has custody of its.
No,
So,
I
so
think,
Kath,
Linda Cole is on the board, and she's the town treasurer, so, she has seen all the money coming in and has been keeping track of it.
And the other person who's doing the setup is the town accountant.
Town accountant.
Okay, so have these two not discussed this?
Yeah, I think they have. It's one of these, we're going around and around, and it's like, well, who can make this decision, and what's the process, and we don't know, it's never been done before, how do we do it, you know, it's
Well,
just.
I
like,
think you
really
send the accountant to Linda Cole and have them get together and find out where it is
Yeah.
and then we'll pick it up from there.
Like a meeting with the people
Yes.
who
all the people.
have power to make decisions and the people who need to know
Right.
what is
Right,
there.
well, you know, I said a department head meeting on Monday, and I talked to Beth briefly, Beth is the town accountant, and she's relatively new, and she does only work part-time, so I'm not trying to disparage Beth in any way, it's very confusing, maybe it doesn't have to be that confusing, but, the way it's been handled hasn't been, I don't feel like they should have opened the account immediately. And then
Yeah,
any
so my
funds that
question
were
is,
raised. have gone
where is it if it didn't go into an account?
I think it went into a bank account, not a SoftWrite account, not something that we could see.
Access, we see.
Yeah,
Okay, so
So
this
it's in
is
the-
about town access and then being able to disperse it.
exactly. And
Okay.
track it.
And-
Angela's
But the
keeping
town
track.
treasurer is the one who was receiving the,
She's on the CLT board. She's part of the.
true, although I've
board,
never
so-
met her, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she tracks, she sends, you know, does all the funds that at the end of the fiscal year, when you're deciding what the takeout should be, then she breaks that down to how much would come out of each fund and lets us know so we can, you know, do the book plates and write the letters to the different,
Well, I
know,
think that she
donors,
has a
things like that.
task here, is what I think.
yeah.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
The-
To get this
Is
sorted
it
out.
worthwhile
So-
for you to write a letter documenting, just from your knowledge, I am library director, I am tracking this, but I don't have the information to discharge my responsibilities.
I've pretty much said that numerous times.
But who's received it?
I've sent it to the town manager, I've sent it to the treasurer, sent it to the accountant, I've sent it to people on the CLT. I mean, I keep raising this question, I think, and it all goes back to, and again, I wasn't part of this, but when the whole project was started, there was never any structure in place as to who gets to decide things. And it's, in general, everyone's been in agreement, so it hasn't been an issue. But when we were talking about removing one of the walls, when the price came in really high, there was no one person who had the final decision as to, can we change the project, or what, just general choices and who's in charge.
So here's my ignorance, but isn't there an auditor that audits how the town functions that we could ask come in
I
and?
don't know.
I have
think
no
so.
idea.
I mean, I think that the first gating issue is to ask Linda Cole to sort out where the money is and get the account set up
Right,
and
so that's.
get it
they're
ready
working
to
on
pay.
that.
the bill,
But you've
right,
done
exactly.
that.
And
I've
then,
done that, and as of today, they finally gave us the account number, but then it still has the 2,700,000 in it, so. We're sorting it out, we're
So,
moving in the
okay,
right
so
direction.
can I ask a question just to back up? So in other words, in the soft right, like in the software, in the interface, it says if there's $2 million in it, but really there is actually a physical account that has something like 280 in it.
I don't know if it's.
And
that,
those two
yes.
things don't match. That,
Right.
Right.
That's my understanding. Again, I don't have access to the bank account. I don't get a statement every month of what's in that bank account.
I just think this is Linda's task to clear it up for you.
Yes.
And
And
it,
maybe-
and you have to let her know
yes,
that
that-
time is of the
that
essence because
software
we owe these
account,
people
She
some
does
money.
know
Start all
that,
over.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
the bill is, I got the bill 3 weeks late, because it goes to Megan and Michelle. And then they sent it 3 weeks after it had already been sent to them. So this is what the bill looks like, I don't know if you can see.
I mean, are
but
they like breathing down your necks for a check or
They're
anything?
not, no.
Okay.
No, and so
They
it's,
shouldn't be.
they,
I
No,
mean,
no, of
they
course
really died.
right.
right, so it has to be dealt
It
with.
just has to be
But
done.
it's not like we've gotta pay it this week or they're gonna pack up and leave, it's nothing like that, but the bill is just, well, y'all pass it around, and, on the back, it just has new.
And Chris McFarland has not signed off on it
He
yet.
has signed off on
He
it, I got him
has.
to come in, which is another whole thing as
Yeah.
well,
That's the
so.
architect.
So
Yeah.
it has like a column that says this period, so that's what this bill is for, just what's been done this period, it's $80,000 and it's. Concrete walls, form and pour. They don't bill the full amount, there's some reasoning that they billed 76,000 rather than 80,000, but. I mean, you can see this is all that the bill is, and then the 1 week before, I don't know if I have that.
What are, go
Yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
Alex, did you have something you wanted to say? It sounded like you
Wait.
wanted.
I did. I just wanted to make like I was trying to just compartmentalize the different roles because it sounds like the actual payment to a vendor would come from the town, so they would have to have the funds and they would have to approve the money's going out. The money's coming into the account. What the sources that's coming from, whether it's the wherever the source is coming from, including the CLT. The CLT has to vote right on distribution and disbursements, but this isn't the normal kind of account that we deal with. This was set up specifically for this purpose. So was there anything, and then maybe this is often an offline conversation with the CLT members, but was there any point where they said, okay, yeah, this money is earmarked, ready to go at the discretion of the library director, the town, the whoever it is? Because I feel like there's a couple of steps there. And I just want to make sure that we're like it can get confusing very fast, and that's where I was having trouble keeping up a little bit there. As to do we getting the money into the account, or are we sending the money out of the account? Because we know that the project has been approved and we're moving forward with it. And then if we're happy with where they're going, let's, the money can go. But if you have to put money into the account, then we got to make sure all the right people are approving that too.
Right, so to answer your question on the CLT side, I don't really know, but like as the money came in, it was turned over to the town. It's not like the CLT retained
Right.
any
Oh.
custody of those funds.
Yeah, so
So,
then I don't think we have any
but,
say. in it.
yeah, it's,
So it was turned over to the town. It was, as I was part of it, when Barb Whip was in charge.
right,
Would come to the library, I would bring them down to her, and I thought she was taking them straight over to the bank.
yeah,
For deposit.
that's what I think too. So, I mean, I
Yeah.
think we.
And I don't know what name of that was, the name of that account, or who was in, what.
Right, who's in
I
charge
don't
of
know
that?
anything about that account.
Yeah.
But that, it was being deposited somewhere, so it's.
I mean, I think Cindy would know, but I don't remember us ever going through like a process in the meeting. To answer
Yeah.
your question, Alex, of voting or taking a vote or anything on that, but I guess my question is that necessary? And I don't even remember if we voted to initiate the fundraising, and I was even maybe before I
Well, I
joined the
think
CLT
that's why
board.
they
I don't
do
really
want
know
the
very
board
little
to
about the
decide.
governance of the
So
CLT board, to be
there's,
honest.
Yeah.
Me too.
I
Yeah,
mean, problem is, this whole project has taken so long that there's been new
Turnover.
people, there's a lot
Yeah.
of turnover, so people who were here at the beginning,
There's no institutional memory.
there's no
correct.
institutional
That's why I
memory.
wish
So
Carolyn was here, because this conversation probably
there's
could have
a
been
lot
had in
of
5
institutional
minutes.
memory, yeah. Oh, I think that's why the town wants someone on the CLT to at least say, yeah,
Kinda
that's,
makes
we're
sense.
okay with, we're okay
Right.
with this, so. And that's fine, once we can get the warrant printed,
So it almost seems like this 2 million that's in this account. Like what if if the town got rid of that and started over again?
Yes.
Once it is established who's gonna sign off, where the
Yeah.
funds are, and then
yeah,
assign a new account number. I don't mean the bank account number, but
right,
this
it's software.
software,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I mean, really, they could,
right.
they
Because
could
like
keep the same
showing it,
account, number, they really
changing,
just have to have the
maybe-
right balance.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all
It's a little
confusing,
frustrating.
but that does feel like a
yeah.
treasurer
It's a-
accountant task.
And the
that's
fact
what
that
she likes to
see,
say.
like, if, like, why doesn't something trigger a 2 million account has been opened or, on the software?
Right,
Like CLT should know that and say, wait a minute, whoa,
That's the
why
crazy
is
thing
that?
is that where,
Like, why is
money
there two-
doesn't exist in that account. That's
Yeah.
the crazy thing is that you could almost make it anything you wanted, and that doesn't make me very comfortable.
no, it doesn't
So that's what
sound
keeps trying to, I mean, I
like a
have,
good
I've
idea.
sent so many messages, it's super frustrating, but I think we're moving in the right direction. Linda understands what I'm saying, but I think Beth has to create the accounts. And she, for some reason, keeps getting stuck on this $100,000 issue. And then the other part of it is SoftWrite is such a clunky, program that things that they can see, we can't see, and the other way around. So they're like, it's in there, and like, no, it's not. And so that's another problem. So anyway,
All right.
we'll work it out. I just wanted to get you all in the loop, and maybe the CLT can discuss amongst themselves how many people do they want to sign the warrant? Because
When is the next?
It's gonna come up
CLT
again.
meeting?
I think
Rob,
it's
do
in
you
May.
know?
We just had one.
Oh,
We had one in February, right?
Yeah, I think it is May.
mail chain around and just decide, because I'm happy to get people to sign it, but I don't know how many they feel and who. That's the other question is who.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and there are 3 of
um,
us who are trustees, so,
yeah, so just if someone could figure that out, then once the PO gets approved and the warrant is created, then that'll be the next step, and then we can get the check cut, so.
Yeah.
It's gonna keep coming up because
they're gonna keep asking
they're
for
gonna
money.
keep asking for money,
I have a question, just what are our responsibilities as elected trustees to ensure that all this is going the way it should go? And
Well, the part that concerns me is that when the CLT funds are exhausted, there still is to come a conversation about who contributes what. And that concerns me for all the obvious reasons, but chiefly among them that, it's important for us to protect our state aid
100%.
for sure.
Especially, that's the part B of my financial conversation.
Yeah.
I really strongly feel, and I think Catherine does too, that there needs to be a push to fundraise some more. I think, the original, bid is now $15,000 more because of the problems with the slope of the hill on the side.
Yeah.
So we were already a little bit short with what had been raised, and now we're $15,000 shorter. Of course, landscaping, furniture, lighting, none of that was included in the bid request. And now I've gone twice to capital budget to request funds for the door, which
Mhm.
Nick from facilities feels is gonna be about $50,000. The bid was 40, and he's said with all the work, given the old building, he's probably gonna have to run electricity because you have to have the ADA
Mhm.
buttons. They might have to widen that door a bit to make it wide enough. There's just a lot of work, the trim work, the finish, all of that. So he requested $50,000. We went to capital budget twice, and they kind of felt like, well, they've had many more requests than they have the funds for. So they felt like maybe it would be better to be a CPC request. So
But you've
That
already
seems
been
absurd.
so generous.
Yeah, that's right.
I got a
That's
call at around 4:30. I was just leaving from Nick, and he said, Michelle would like you to present something tonight at the CPC. Can you get you have to get the request in now. And I said, well, shouldn't it come, the capital budget originally came from facilities, so to me, it's a facilities thing, it's a door.
Mhm.
And he said, well, Michelle felt like it'd be better to come from you, and I was like, I don't know about that, but anyway, I put something together. And went to the meeting, and I had, I don't know if much about CPC, but there's different categories that there's 4 categories that it has to fall into one of those to be eligible. So I had put historic renovation, because one of the reasons the door is so expensive is we want to keep that beautiful window that's above it. And to my mind, the door it's failing quite a bit. It blows open sometimes, it won't latch all the way. It has a big gap between the 2 doors that rain comes in and cold air comes in. It's just, it needs to be fixed regardless of the pavilion. So at the meeting, they said, well, if you do historic renovations, that's fine, but you have to get the Historical Society to sign off that this building is historically important to the town.
The
And
historic commission, not the society,
the
right?
Historic Commission.
I just want to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah. And they didn't feel like that'd be a problem, because it is important to the town, but then the discussion was like, well, maybe it should be under recreation instead. That's a little bit easier. The problem is, I guess there's not that much money in recreation to give this year, because other groups have asked for it. So long story short, I have to go back again on March 23rd. They wanted more information, and
They meaning
the CPC.
okay.
And we've heard from people within the CPC on the download that it sounds like they might not fund the whole thing, because this capital budget and CPC both asked the question, why wasn't this included in the pavilion project?
Mm.
I'm
I think
sitting there answering, I had nothing to do with it, so
Didn't we not
Sorry?
know that it was an issue then when it first started?
not.
I don't know
We
anything
did not.
about it, so
No.
I'm trying to answer for people that, I didn't have anything to do with it, and that's why I really wanted to go with the historic renovation route and not tie it to the pavilion, because I feel uncomfortable. They've already given us $225,000. To go back and ask for another $50,000 felt kind of
Cheeky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were so generous to us, and so,
So they have part of the money under the.
well,
Would they?
I think under, so from my understanding, you can actually be more than one thing, so maybe it's possible to link them both together if I could get this certification by the, historical commission, but, I
Doesn't
think that
capital budget
they,
also want to see that you've tried to get money from other sources, so if,
yes,
you know, the historic value of this building is important and CPC would be willing to fund some of that,
yeah,
then nobody wants to go back to capital budget, but it's also,
nobody does.
it's also like we've done what we could.
I know, I mean, I think the problem is we're running out of time. It took Nick a really long time to get a bid for the door. And then it was delayed. I asked so many times for him to submit it to capital budget. He was waiting for a new bid, and as it turned out, we just submitted with the bid from September. We never got an updated bid. It's just been really frustrating. I don't mean to vent to everybody here. But.
No, it sounds incredibly challenging and it shouldn't be on your shoulders.
You know,
Shouldn't be on your
Yeah.
shoulders.
Right.
anyway, if they only fund part of it, I don't know if it'd be too late to then go back to capital budget and say, we need 25,000. So I guess I'm probably gonna have to reach out to Michelle and say, this is the issue. What are we gonna do? Because she has been supportive of the project, and she was the one that said we should go to CPC over it, so. It's just a combination of money is really tight. The town is got a lot of big issues, this year and next year, and then these snowstorms really threw everything even worse, so, I don't know what plan B is if we don't get enough funds. We really need, that door has to be working.
So, so do we have a total number, Bronwyn, like of what, like, I think first of all, just to kind of agree with you, I think it's not part of the pavilion project. So I think you're moving down the right path. But I just wanted to kind of understand, like, of the things that fit under capital right now, the pavilion and the door and the furniture and the furnishings, are we rolling to a number right now? And do we know what our shortfall is? Because I know that the CLT has offered the additional 100,000. What is our shortfall right
Well,
now?
it
And
is
I know you could run into something else in the future,
Yeah.
in the next few months. But for today, what's the shortfall?
It's a little bit of a moving target,
Okay.
but it's funny you should ask, because Angela and I were just looking at the numbers before the meeting. From what I gather, and again, I don't have the CLT number, but that we have raised 332, or we have 332,000 left. And with the additional 15,000, we're gonna need 353. So we're 21 short for just paying the contractual bills.
Just paying Dano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then we have the door, we have the furniture, we have the landscaping, lighting, and any other, if Dandel starts getting in to something and they have to do a change order, it's possible it could be even more. So, and I don't know, I wasn't there, but I think that it was agreed to pay Chris McFarland 20 or 25,000.
Right, something, yeah, I know.
I've
That
never
was
seen
that,
anything in writing on that.
me
but
either. It was a late
So I,
stage.
to answer
I
your
don't,
question, I think.
it was already done before I knew anything about it.
Yeah, I don't know who agreed to it, or,
Me
you
either.
know,
Yeah,
but I'd say we're probably gonna hit $100,000 is not outrageous at all to say that, given all the things that are unfunded, I think.
right, and that might not even capture any furnishing.
And that, yeah, and I don't think it makes sense to buy cheap chairs just because, we're short in funding. So that circles back to I really would love to see some more fundraising happen on the part of the CLT. I went to the Friends meeting the other day, and they've got a lot of good energy now. I didn't know if maybe CLT and Friends would want to work together and come up with some kind of fundraising program. I had this idea the other day that just something crossed my desk, and it was, in Hingham, they do a thing called, it's like flamingos that you buy and you can flock somebody's house, and it's a fundraiser, and I thought, maybe we sell those pink flamingos for $100 a piece and we put them all out in the lawn before we open. It would be kind of fun, it would be eye-catching, could, just as simple, there's a lot of simple ideas like that that could bring in, it wouldn't solve huge problem, but it could bring in a fair amount of money. And I don't know that anyone is, I don't know if there's any plans at all for more fundraising.
We
Um,
could, yeah. Actually, the PSO did the Flamingo fundraiser a few years ago.
Yeah,
And it worked out really well. We probably have like 30 or 40 flamingos in
oh,
somebody's
really?
basement.
Yeah.
So we could
Yeah, I mean, I thought we could put the person's name on it, they could take it home later, I don't know, whatever, I have the kernel of an idea, I don't have a fully baked idea yet, but, I mean, it's hard for us because we're not supposed to be fundraising as a library,
Right,
so I can
right.
only ask people to do things, but I can't, compel anybody to do it.
Lead
And
it.
yeah, so the
It's
money has to come
we
from
could-
somewhere.
yeah, it's something we could talk about.
Yeah.
Let's see. We're going to do a staff luncheon. Maybe that's
If
something.
that's still on, that would, that's next month, end of next month,
Okay.
So,
April 27th.
so that staff luncheon, I think is now a staff breakfast. Is that what I heard? Or
Oh, yes.
what? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's how we
Okay,
changed
That's
it.
how I played it. So,
Good to
so
know.
that could be an interesting point, but so just to kind of probably, I'm just trying to get my arms around what the action is. So it sounds like we need to have a subcommittee, a sub whatever group that is going to go off of a different calendar than friends meetings or CLT meetings, and kind of need to support you, Bronwyn, to try to figure out what the shortfall is, particularly as you navigate the town, but also
Yeah.
kind of start a fundraising. I don't know that we can go, like, again, it's kind of like this. It's the same feeling you're having going to the different committees. Like, it's also, we can't go back to the community and say, "Oh, just kidding, it's costing us more," But if we can
Yeah.
call it like a finishing touches,
Yeah.
drive, then maybe that is something that could be interesting to do. But I just don't like. I want to make it. But anyway, we can figure out what the campaign handle is. But I feel
Yeah,
like
the
you need
wording is-
support. You feel like you need support that we probably can't solve in this meeting. So I'm happy
I
to help.
appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I really am very, very reluctant to spend any reserve funds that the library has. And I don't think that's a good, financially, I don't think that's a good decision, especially given that our budget's been cut.
I really reinforced that.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
really, and again, we don't know what the market's gonna do. I mean, we count so much on the endowment, maybe that's gonna not continue to be the same amount. We can't just say, oh, well, we're gonna guarantee to get, the 75,000. We don't know that. Things
Right.
could, who knows what's gonna happen? So I'm really, I don't even think that should be part of the discussion, if at all possible. So, that kind of segues into the next discussion. So, we've been asked for this year to identify any funds that are unspent that we can return to the town to help them pay for the snow and ice overrun. Again, I'm a little reluctant to give too much back because we just don't know. It's only March. We could have plenty of things come up that just the projector in the meeting room is failing. We've had to have IT come out a couple of times. I don't think it's going to last much longer. So for example, those kinds of things that we rely on, we need the funds for that. So I did give back the monies for the education bonus that we had asked for back before the union disbanded. I got a call, I don't know, I guess it was last Monday night from Megan that Michelle was going to present to the select board the next day that, proposing closing the library on Sundays for next year. And, to cut that, it's about $12,000 from our payroll budget. So, that had been discussed when we were talking about changing the hours. We all met in Michelle's office and discussed the different options. Because Sunday is paid at time and a half. It's only 3 hours that we're open. It had been thrown around of maybe that should be something that we cut. I kind of feel like the attendance is about 80 people in 3 hours is a pretty good number every Sunday. A lot of people can't come in during the week. I think it's kind of important to offer it. But if that's the place that's a reasonable place to cut, because it means staff hours won't be changed, because that's a voluntary shift. So people sign up for it, and we have 2 staff members that cover those hours, and the problem is some staff members count on that money, the additional funds. So the question is,
Isn't there something like children's programming also on Sundays?
Sharon's had just,
Yeah.
had been building up children, and it's very popular on
Yeah, I would think.
Sundays. So the options are, we could fund it ourselves out of our state aid, because state aid can be used for salaries. Again, if we start going down that road, I doubt the town is going to suddenly
Yeah,
decide to
I agree.
refund it.
That's just opening the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I asked Michelle if this was gonna be just a 1-year thing, or if it was something, is this a permanent change? She wasn't committing to anything. She said, I'm happy to re-talk about it next year. If we were to fund it ourselves, we could consider, reducing the number of months that we're open on Sundays. A lot of libraries do like October to April. I always like to be open the longer months, because school starts up again. September is pretty busy. People are back in the swing of things. And in the spring, we have finals. People are, coming in. It's a fairly busy time. So,
Now we're closed from May.
Memorial to
Right.
Yeah, so it's only, it's the winter. I think it's 36 weeks or something like that. We're closed on Easter. Other options we talked about is closing the Sundays of long weekends. That's usually a hard time to get anybody to work those days. Someone threw out Mother's
That seems like
Day.
an easy one, to do that one, and then, I like the idea too, like you said, of just maybe doing it a little bit less, maybe it goes, October 1st.
Yeah, I mean,
To
also thrown
April
around. I mean,
vacation or
winter's kind
something.
of slow. Maybe we close for 2 months in the winter. I don't know.
I
You know
don't
what
think
mean?
we should be using funding.
So this is the
but
problem.
Absolutely
This is the
not.
problem.
I agree.
Because once you start, it's like with the schools. Once
Yeah,
the town
I know.
reneges on its responsibility.
Yeah.
So
and
the
to
other,
other sources, it never gets that.
the other part of the reasoning was that of all the libraries in the area, there's only 2 that are open 7 days a week. And that's Situate and Quincy. Almost every other one is closed at least one day. Hingham is closed on Friday, so they are open Sundays, but only 1 to 5. Hull is only open 40 hours.
How did the
Norwell's
80
closed Sunday.
Excuse me, how do the 80 people on the Sundays, how does that compare with other? Is that a high number to have? What's the highest number you would have?
I don't, is that a high number for ours, or I thought you
Yeah,
were talking about other, with
no,
other
no.
libraries? I mean, last year we had 95,000 people come through. I think it averages about, I think it's 200 or 250 a day.
Okay,
So I think it's really on par with
yeah,
what a typical,
for 3 hours versus, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So, Sharon says that a lot of times there's dads come in with the kids, and it's a popular, day.
Mm.
The other side of that is I don't wanna cut staff hours, and this is, if it's not gonna be funded, this is an area where it is voluntary, we can cut. And do we need to be open 7 days a week? If not, I know Duxbury and Norwell cut Sundays because their override failed. So that's a similar type of thing where they were able to cut that.
So
So I'm kind of just trying to get everyone's, feel for, do you want me to look into ways to fund it? It's limited because there's some funds that we have, these just can't use for salaries. I do hate to dip into the state aid. It's, again, really one of our few funds that is fairly, discretionary, so, it's not, it's not great. I will tell you, they did cut other town departments, because that was my
That was
big
my next
question.
question.
Yeah, that was my first question, was
Maybe
because.
the dump doesn't need to be open.
we're-
3
I
days a
know, I
week.
know.
4.
Yes, yeah, 4, but
And
still,
they've
yeah.
got those hours
And they
too.
did cut those hours, yeah. So I mean, I know, with our state aid funding, you can't have the library have a big reduction and other town departments not have a big reduction. If it has to more be fairly across the board, so, her suggestions to the select board, and this all has to be, then will be approved at town meeting, so it's not a done deal, but it's moving that way. Reduce the communication specialist from full-time to part-time, eliminated the position of assistant town planner, closed library on Sundays, they eliminated a town custodian position, I think that she worked at town hall. They reduced the salary of the position of town manager / finance director, and all departments reduced their expenses or requests by 3 to 5%. I feel like the library is taking the biggest hit of those things, but I know that we didn't have to cut as much when she originally cut the budgets, because ours was relatively small when you're looking at, police or fire or something like that, so. So that's the part B of the, the financial discussion. And I don't know, I've really gone back and forth. Again, I think it's gonna, I think patrons will be upset, staff will be upset.
I think we need to make that
Yeah.
really clear,
And
that if it comes to that,
yeah,
the town is forcing us.
It's
or
The town
asking
has,
us-
right.
the
it's
town's
the
responsible.
town
Yeah.
Is asking us to close
Right,
on
Correct,
Fridays.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
if I appeared at the door on a Sunday and it was locked, I'd be shocked.
yeah, I know, and again, we are open far more hours than we need to.
Mhm.
So even with these 3-hour cuts, we still are gonna be at 52 or something like that hours a week, and we only have to be open 25 to be certified, so it's still a really large number.
So here's another question. So in addition to the salaries for that Sunday, which seems to be the area
Yeah.
that they're,
Yeah, I mean.
the larger
really,
number,
it's,
what about like electricity and heating and air conditioning, and like, is there gonna be a noticeable difference if we're closed on Sundays?
I mean, the thermostats are set to go down, but with such a big building, you really can't even turn them down substantially, because then it takes all day to
Mhm.
either reheat or cool the building, so they do go down some, so there would be, and I'm sure.
So Saturday
Paper
afternoon.
supplies,
Mhm.
bathroom things, yeah, there would be a little bit of probably a savings. I
Mhm.
don't know that it would be really a large number personally.
Hey,
I don't know.
Bronwyn,
Yes.
Bronwyn, is there, and again, I don't mean this as necessarily as a solution, but is there a situation where you have someone resign and you don't backfill the position to try to save some payroll dollars? Or is there another way to skin the cat as opposed to just saying, hey, we're closing these hours? Because at the end of the day, it's payroll, right? So you could control how you use the payroll. It's your budget, it's your money to be used however you want. So is there another way to look at it?
mean, we have talked about reducing position to part-time. That would kind of be a forced reduction. And we kind of wanted to avoid that sort of thing if possible, but they definitely have been, so the town offered a retirement deal for anyone
Yep.
who'd been with the town more than 10 years as a way to try to do what you're saying, move people out. I don't think it was that great of a deal. It was a 10%, you get 10% check. And then you're just your regular retirement, which for a lot of people that would be, $8,000, which may sound like a lot of money, but I think if you're retired, it's not gonna go very long if you're retired. So I don't know how many people accepted that. They have at all the meetings, they say, evaluate all your positions and make sure that people are working to their capacity or have, or have enough work to do that justifies their position. I mean, we just hired someone, so I kind of trying to keep my head down about that because we did really need the position filled, and I'm so happy that we have both Jen and Taylor. It's we finally have enough staffing, so but we have looked at that, and maybe that could be an option. I guess that's the decision is which is more important, because I don't think there's enough funds to do both things. So
I just was only suggesting it as, is there another option? As selfishly as as a dad, looking for things to do, looking for things to
I
do in the
know.
winter with my kids, like those 3 hours could be important to the community from that perspective. I don't know, but
I know, I recognize
but-
that, and again, if Michelle had committed to, well, it's only gonna be for this year. And we'll fund it next year, and I understand why she wouldn't say that, then I think it would make sense maybe to find a way to fund it ourselves. But I do really worry about doing that, because I think that once we say, hey, we've got state aid we can use, then it never comes back to,
You-
So
you won't be able to
would-
claw that money back. I don't think you'll be able to claw that money back. I think it's gone if you
Yeah.
do that.
I think you're 100% right.
would eliminating Sundays altogether, that's the 12,000 that I think you
Yeah,
mentioned?
12, 13.
If we extended the season, as we do, we close in the summer, May to September, we extended a little more, how much of that could we? Like how do we calculate partial shut?
Well,
Right, like if you went
yeah,
from,
so it's
say,
essentially say 10 months. So,
So you have two people,
so that's what, 1,200 a month. So if you cut back, and every month would be, 1,200 less.
right, so
That
if
makes
you
sense,
did
essentially.
like,
Ballpark.
say, April vacation to Columbus Day,
Closed.
right, so then that would add, well, what would that, maybe 2 months, that's not that
Yeah.
much, I guess, but and how much are they looking for from you?
Let me see, I had the,
I mean, they asked
I mean, again,
for,
it's a
they asked,
guess.
was it 7,500 or something you said in the, or maybe I agreed with that, but I thought I read that in your report.
Well, like that was the 7,900 that I gave
Oh,
back this
that you
year,
gave back,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, but, as far as the payroll, so the Sunday, it's a ballpark anyway, because we don't know who's gonna actually volunteer for those.
so they're
shifts.
Right.
in a different.
And,
rate.
yeah, if we have a
Right.
sub working, they
Yeah.
make $33 an hour. If we have someone who's been here a long time, they may make $50 an hour for time and a half.
Right.
So it's really, that's a bit of a guess, and think the number that we hit on was $12,500. So they didn't take all of that, they took close to that, but not all of that so then they went and changed my request in that's going to be presented to the town meeting, but reduced it by that amount. So as of right now, it's out of our budget. So getting it back in, I think would be pretty hard unless I could come up with some other way. Like reducing a different staff member or offering to.
We'll just have the high school kids come in and run the place.
What could go wrong?
Right.
I mean, we had talked about just having subs do it, because they do make substantially less money. But that doesn't feel very comfortable to me to have, sort of
Two subs.
temporary employees,
Hmm,
you know.
earning on a
Having
day
keys
that.
to the
right.
place and, you know, what if something happened and, you know, it's too much responsibility, I think, for, you know, not really fully, full employees, in my opinion. So, well. I think it sounds like everyone feels the same way I do.
Yes, so
Yes.
what do you need from us? I mean, you know, is this a voting issue? I mean, it sounds like it is a voting issue. If we would have to vote to agree with the closure. I mean, it doesn't sound like any of us agrees with with the closure, but I don't know where else the $12,000 is coming from. And I mean, it's not, the $12,000 is not coming into the budget.
Well, I
either
got
way.
an agreement not to use state funding to.
Yeah, I
fund.
mean, you know,
I think
Yeah.
that
I
would
mean,
be within the
yeah.
purview of what we.
I mean, so the way I left it with Michelle, was when I asked her, you know, is this, you know, one-time deal, or, you know, she did say we can discuss it next year. And I said, well, I do have a trustees meeting on Wednesday and we can talk about it with them and see if they have strong, you know, feelings about finding another way to fund it or what we want to do or shortening. I mean, we could, you know, if we cut out all the long weekends and maybe a month on either side, maybe you're down to, you know, $8,000 or $9,000.
It doesn't seem.
I mean,
Shouldn't have to.
is it worth running the calculation though?
I mean, I could, yeah, sure, we could do that. I was really hoping when I first heard she was gonna present this at the select board, I was hoping that someone would speak up at the select board and say,
No, thank you.
what do you know, we don't wanna do that, or is that really the only option? And it didn't, no one said anything. So. Maybe it's just that we care about it and the bigger town is less concerned. I don't know.
Are there any other library directors that you could chat with just to see if they have some?
I mean,
Thoughts?
you know, it's had, like I said, it has happened. Duxbury just went through it, you know, about a year and a half ago, and Norwell, same thing. And I think that they made the calculation of we'd rather cut this than cut staff or have,
Mhm.
you know, have to cut back on other things. So, you know, the only the compelling argument on the town side is we are one of the few libraries that are open 7 days a week.
Do people from other towns come here because of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and like, Hingham's closed Friday, we're pretty busy on Fridays because, you know, they can't go there. So.
What, do we have another day during the week that's really, really slow?
No, that's the whole problem when I tried to change the hours is, we've built up such great programming, both in the mornings and in the evenings, and we have, you know, tutors and we have people studying and, you know, it's really busy all day. A little lull at maybe noon, but it doesn't help because I can't, you know, close and, yeah, exactly. So, it's great. I'm happy that we have
No, it's-
people here all the time and, I was talking to one of the friends about it and they're like, yeah, I like to be able to just come into the library anytime. I don't wanna think, oh, you're not
Leave it
opening
open.
till 1 or,
Yeah.
you know, that sort of thing. And that's great. I just don't know if that's sustainable in a town of 8,000 people, if we can be open at the,
Well, that's-
whenever
yeah,
anyone wants.
Calculus about the revenue that we bring also that and should, I mean, that seems to me should be part of the analysis. I mean, like the passports, I mean,
I know.
you know, that's revenue that did not exist 2 years ago.
No, I know, and maybe that is. I mean, that paid for our tent, that would have been, you know, thousands of dollars this summer, and we wouldn't have, I don't know where we would have come up with the money to put that up. You know, so it's really wonderful to have, maybe we offer to use that for staff funding, I don't know, I'm. If it was a normal year, I would feel much more comfortable about spending funds,
Yeah.
but. Especially with the pavilion, and you know, we don't know how big the
But
final
I
is.
just mean too, like in terms of pushing back,
Mhm.
you know, so Michelle Leary made this presentation to the select board, and what was the outcome of that presentation? Was there a vote that was had, or this was just a proposal? This is what we're talking about for the budget, but nothing is resolved yet.
I'm not sure, I think that I think it was I don't know, I watched some of it, I didn't watch all of it.
So we don't really know, there's nothing binding on us right now. Michelle Leary has sort of proposed to us the 12,000 and 12,500.
It's out of our budget,
Right.
It's taken out of our budget.
And when is the
So when
budget
she went to-
finalized?
She was at advisories, I've been watching all these meetings trying to find out what's going on. She did do a whole presentation and with the budget without our funds in there, so I think it's. Unless we can come up with some really strong argument, I think it's already, it's been decided.
So just from just out of curiosity, I know there was a discussion at some point that the schools were going to lose personnel,
not a-
teachers.
Not
And
happening
so-
anymore.
It's not happening anymore because they found a way to preserve those jobs through a variety of things. But is this like a downstream result of that?
I'm not sure if it has anything to do with that.
Well,
Okay.
I have some procedural objections to this whole thing, because the select board doesn't decide when the library is open or closed.
Right.
And neither does
Being-
Michelle Leary.
That's when you were saying about a vote. I was thinking, why would we
Yeah.
vote for something that's being
That,
imposed?
yeah,
on
I
us?
mean, that's like, we voted on changing the hours, we're not gonna like just
Yeah.
watch the library be closed by another body, I mean, that.
Yeah, and I mean-
That's why I asked the question about whether if this is a budget issue, then you can solve the problem any way you want without having to close the library. But they're making a unilateral decision on this is what we're doing. But either way, it's a budget issue, right? Like that $12,000 is gone.
Yes, so we could find some other way, like you're suggesting, you know, reduce a position or something like that, and we could still fund Sundays. It wasn't, they use, it's an easy number because of the way that
Right.
the spreadsheet is,
But
you
if-
could just see
but
that
is
and
it-
take it out.
I mean, do you not think that that's how they arrived at this number? Oh, well, if we cut Sundays, $12,500, so Bronwyn, $12,500 is gone from your
Yes,
budget. I mean, that's how it
100%,
happens, so
yes.
functionally, we're in the same place.
Yes.
I,
But I think, you know, if we were able to come up with, I don't know, restructure or something, it's not like they would say, no, you still can't be open on Sundays. And was my question, Michelle, as well, was if we found some other way to fund it, could we stay open? She said, you know, of course, that's fine, but we can't pay for it.
That's what she would like you to do. That's
She
what
would
the
like
town would
this,
like
to
you
do
to
that,
do.
and then, you know,
again, it
I-
just makes me question the figure.
Yes, it's an artificial figure.
Exactly.
It's not like it's 2% of the budget or it's
Right,
anything like that. It's
exactly.
just, oh, this is.
That's right, and I would like to
It's not right.
see.
Show us the money.
Right, exactly, I would like to see the analysis across the board and how I wanna see, you know, the even-handedness with
Right.
which
Mhm.
all departments have been asked to contribute, and whether or not all the items on that list. I wanna understand what the parity is among the departments for these cuts.
Well, and did it actually
Before-
happen?
Right, that too.
So the money that you gave back for education,
Right.
is
Is for
what
this
percent, was
year there.
that like 3% of, like, they're asking all the departments to cut 3% of what
Yeah.
exactly?
3 to
3
5.
to 5, yeah.
Of,
It doesn't say, it just says reduce,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they've asked, we've had a lot of conversations, they've first asked for next year to reduce the budget, and that was when we had the conversations a little while ago where I agreed to reduce our materials
Mhm.
money and some of our education funds. So that's for next year, and now with this whole other crisis, I guess you'd call it, they're talking about this year as well, so with the cut, I think I made.
And is the crisis completely because of snow removal?
And that was what I was just thinking.
That's,
No,
I
I'm
mean-
curious,
I think
because maybe they
sounds
should
like
be
it.
paid a little less.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's probably a few things.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that it's, again, it's frustrating. Every year, there's departments that overspend their budget. We, as
Yes.
a financially fiscally responsible department.
Yeah.
I won't say never, but we do a very good job, and so we end up funding other
Exactly.
departments.
There's subsidizing going on. That
Is there-
doesn't mean-
I
Right,
mean, can you take that data and say, look, here's our history.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is
Yeah.
that some of
Yeah.
the revenue, that we're subsidizing other departments, then I think that we should have less of a burden
Yeah,
for the
Well,
reductions.
so I redid the numbers with this new reduction. I don't think I made enough copies. I got.
Kind of like the East and West Coast
But
thing.
we're still
Exactly.
getting, we're still getting an almost 3% increase next year. Even with the reduction, our personnel numbers going up 3.69%. Our expense line, everything else is just 0.63, and then that averages out to 2.78. So we are still getting an increase, and even though it's essentially level funding, because people's raises are so small as it is, that's gonna eat up all of that increase in the personnel line. The COLA is 2% every year, which is basically not really meeting what the insurance increase is.
and you
Yeah.
could you take 3,000 out of books and materials? That doesn't get you to 12,000,
The
but.
problem
Well,
with
don't
books and
forget, we're
materials is
still
we have
not
to
having-
have-
Right.
Yes,
Sorry.
right, and we're
So
still not making
We're
it.
not making it, that's why we're relying on the endowment so much, so, that one's a tough one.
And, is there any way of showing how the town benefits because we are keeping that number up? That the impact on the town if we let that slip?
As far as books and materials, you mean? Well, then, I mean, if we don't fund it,
We're not
we
gonna
have-
be the president.
I mean, I think like they know and
Yeah.
they're not
Yeah.
super interested in that because
Yeah.
we're already.
I mean, it's a
pressing
bit
them
of a
to
long
try it.
process. You can ask for a waiver in the first year, and I don't think there'd be much impact for a little while. I mean, there definitely would be an impact
Yeah,
long
okay.
term, and I
Alright.
don't wanna go down that road.
No, I just was asking a
but,
question.
in, marketing's high, but we are working on redoing the newsletter. We're thinking about doing it bi-monthly, but smaller, only a 2-pager instead of a 4-pager.
Was it the postage also expensive or?
Postage is about $500 a mailing now. So it would be less if it's smaller.
Mhm.
But the printing is now, as you'll see from the bills, if we ever get to the bills, it was 2,000 for a long time, and now it's 2,110 or something like that. So it's creeping up
And so it's
quarterly.
quarterly.
I did talk to the friends at the Friends meeting, about sharing our mailing permit, because it's $350. They have one, it's $350. As far as I know, they only do one mailing a year.
Mhm.
And I know
Right,
we have
just
talked
the-
about this whole
yeah,
thing before.
Yeah.
And Barbara Wren was really not interested in sharing it, and even though the postmaster said it's okay to do that, it's the whole thing. But this.
Yeah, I would try again.
Yeah,
because
the
I
new
think
group
you may
said,
have a more
even if we split
receptive.
it, that's totally fine, and so they did seem like that would be fine with them. I did also talk to them about potentially helping subsidize the newsletter, because it's promoting programming, which is what they
Yeah.
are supporting, so this new group seems a little bit more open to different ideas, and they do recognize that we need funds. They even offered, when I talked to them about Sundays, they said, well, can we fundraise for it? I don't know if that's something they can do. Their mission is really programming, but you know, they just, I think there's ways that we can work with them
Well,
to maybe
then
save some money and.
if some of the marketing budget could be pushed to the
Yeah.
friends, that might help get you there.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
I mean,
It's a lean budget,
I was gonna
that's the
say.
thing, I
Yeah.
mean, a 0.63 increase. Is not, it's not even level funded, it's really,
Mhm.
you know, with inflation,
Yeah.
it's a negative. So, you know, I do feel like we've done our part, to contribute to helping the town. But there has to be a point where I don't know, if this is a reasonable request. Without knowing all the numbers, and I'm not privy to.
I just wonder if we
really-
could like scrape together a sort of a counter offer to the town. Like, we can't make 12.5, but we can make this and keep Sundays.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to look at it, if we cut way back on our Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, between the long
then,
weekends,
You know, and then we chip in 2,000 or something, and they chip in the rest or something.
yeah,
I
and
don't-
again,
we need
maybe
to come up
maybe
with
friends
something.
help out with the marketing and changes to the newsletter. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's
a
and
tough-
it's really
tough.
it is kind of a question for you, Bronwyn, too, because that's a lot to figure that out. And I mean,
Yeah, I can certainly see both sides. Again, do we need to be open this many hours? Selfishly, I'm on call 7 days a week. It might be nice to have a day when I don't have to come in if people don't show up for work. But that's not really a reason to do something or not do something. Some years, Sundays are very hard to fill. Right now, the staff that we have really does want to do the Sundays, so we have to have a sign-up sheet that opens in drive at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning, so everyone has it at the same time. There's no, to be fair. But, there has been times when we've had really hard time getting enough staffing for it. So there are some other issues that are part of the whole calculation.
Mhm.
And if it was gonna cost us a lot of money, then I would say it's just not that, we could let that go, but, it's a tough. Oh, hi.
Hi, sorry.
Hi. Oh.
Did you miss us?
Wow.
I did.
Scotty beamed you up.
Yeah. But I made it.
Realize it's almost 7:30, otherwise it's about to close, you're lucky you got in.
so where do we leave
Yeah.
it? We leave
So,
it
yeah,
with,
what's the feeling here?
I mean, I would say, think about the amount of time you're willing, and like, I know you have not very much time to spare, the amount of time that you're willing to invest in trying to come up with an alternative. And, maybe we should discuss it again at next month's meeting. I mean, because, your point of view is,
I mean, maybe the first step is if I reach out to Michelle and say, the trustees felt strongly that we should be open on Sundays. What can we do? If we could fund part of it, would that be possible? Or is there no opportunity to get any funding from the town, or, just kind of feel out? Because I wasn't really given a lot of information
yeah.
when that was decided.
And I do think you should mention in that conversation or draw her attention back to the fact that you returned a
Yeah.
chunk of change
Mhm.
last year.
Yeah, yeah,
And that, again, we are, a department that tends to be,
Haven't overspent our budget.
it's
Has
not
been
only that, but that
responsible.
we're subsidizing other town
Yeah.
departments, and that
Even-
some
even this year, I
consideration
think
should be
we'll
made for
We'll
that.
give money back, even not including the
I
7,900.
was just gonna start making bullet points, but I'll let you do that.
Yeah, I mean, it is frustrating. Everyone in town accountant's office has said, because they send out messages, make sure you don't overspend and watch your accounts. And when we reach out to them and say, we think we're okay, and they're like, no, we never worry about the library. The library is the only department that has their act together.
Well, the board is fiscally conservative, as you can see.
Very,
in our budget, in the library's budgeting, in being cautious to not spend funding since we know things are changing and happening.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But we want to be team players.
That's the
We've
thing, I mean.
turned over that
No, we want them
education
to be
money.
team players. Is
Yeah,
really what
and-
we're
and-
saying.
And, you know, the library where it
Yeah.
can generate some revenue by creative thinking. And now we need to meet in the middle somehow,
Right,
you know?
Something that Catherine said earlier, and you're actually touching on it right now. And again, I'm not trying to add services, but could you increase the amount of time that you're dedicating to passports to drive additional?
I mean, that, we have talked about it, we have 2 more staff members that are just going through the training.
Yeah.
So they have to get certified and then we'll have more agents, part of the reason why we limit the hours as much as we do is because it's just the staffing issues, is just having enough people. You know, it's probably brought in about $10,000 since we started it, so it's definitely a good revenue generating, we've only do it 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, so we could do probably more. We had talked about maybe doing like 1 Saturday a month, because I think that would be
How about
really
Sundays?
popular.
That's clever.
That's a great idea. You know, so yeah, we are looking into that as soon as we get more people that can manage it.
So again, it might be something interesting to look at, and maybe you make it like a walk-in
Yeah.
instead of appointment driven, make
Yeah.
it walk-in hours, 1 hour every, for 4 days a week, or whatever you feel comfortable doing. But if that could be also something you come to with it as a offering, that might be the other way of doing it. We're gonna try to increase our revenue take.
Some more money.
I don't know, I think I'm in agreement. I think the other thing that I'm just trying to understand is the political climate, like in terms of, because I think there are some bad, poorly behaving departments in the community. But I guess the question is, where do we fall on the nice to have versus need to have? And safety, need to have, education, probably need to have, and then where does library? I think it's we're all sitting here, we would all say need to have,
Right.
but I don't know like where that kind of fits in and how is it impacting.
I
I mean,
think,
these are people, right? So Michelle is a person, she's making decisions based on the pressure she's getting, what she's hearing. And so I would love to just human to human, if you could ask her and say, hey, like, what's the pressure? What are you feeling pressure on? How can we help?
right,
Because I think,
well, I think the
Yeah.
library, sorry to interrupt,
No.
but I think the library maybe feels like sort of a compliant aspect to go for. Like, I think Michelle can say, that's your amount of money, and they expect the library to say, okay,
to figure out.
because they know the schools are
Yeah,
gonna
I
blow
think
up.
that's,
Right.
it's always been a chronic problem though, is that the library is seen as an expense.
Yeah.
We don't bring in much money because that's our philosophy. We're not charging, the senior center and rec department, they all charge for their programming.
Mhm.
And that gives them more flexibility in their budgets. And I think, yeah, the library is nice to have. I think it's a foundation of a community, but if you're talking cutting fire department or
Yeah.
police or your schools, there's no question, that's, they take priority, so that is something that, we combat all the time, but obviously if 95,000 people came through last year, we are important to a large segment of the town, so, that's why I'm surprised. I really thought somebody in the select board or at the meeting would have said, this is not, a good place to have.
Would it make any difference, is any of the select board that we could try to lobby?
It certainly wouldn't hurt. It certainly wouldn't hurt.
We could write a collective letter.
Or, yeah, I'm just,
I think, I think, I don't know how many people are paying attention. I think that's a big part of it,
is there another, so we live here on the corner of Sawyer and Ripley, right, with rec and with the senior center. Is there anything that like pooling our resources, is there any way to like think about this as like as a team to kind of figure out, okay, we're all feeling the pressure, how can we help each other? I'm just spitballing here, but at some point, like these are all areas that I think that are important at different moments for different parts of the community. How can we pool our resources or figure, again, I don't know what that means besides like, is that another way of thinking about it? I think the budget is like, I've been scared about this moment. Because I think I knew this was gonna be a thing, right? And no one's gonna approve, this override thing's gonna take forever to get, oh, maybe not, hopefully, not knowing it'll happen. Awesome, it'll happen really fast, but what if it doesn't, right?
Well, the last time it was tried, it didn't pass.
It was 2006 or something like that,
I think that's
2000.
right.
It was a long
It was the
time.
year
It was not a long
before
time,
I
yeah.
moved to town, yeah, or actually, no, that's the year we moved here, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, so,
And
yeah,
it was
and
contentious.
and you saw how like Duxbury's been struggling to, make this happen, and so I just.
yeah, I mean, it's a bigger issue, not that, we've gotta get going, but, they were talking at an advisory board about, that's the Prop 2.5 is such an old law. And if you don't have any new growth, you can't, it's not sustainable
Yeah.
to only be able to raise funds 2.5%, so. This is what we have though, and, the last few years, there hasn't been a lot of growth, and so that's part of the driver of this crisis right now, so. I'm sympathetic to that, but I also don't think that we're the problem. So.
Right.
Do you know, have you ever, I'm on, AI. Multiple state level studies show that every dollar invested in public library returns between $4 and $10 in economic value. Florida statewide study found it's $6.54 per $1 of taxpayer investment. And similar ROIs in Illinois and Hawaii showed, and then they go in and give you specific ways. And they ask you to show the number of job applications submitted on library computers, et cetera.
Yeah, I've seen some calculations on that, and I think we have shared that kind of thing before,
Oh,
but
okay.
maybe it's time to,
Mine.
do it again. but-
Remember, we talked a bit about like, well, sometimes so much of it is not on paper anymore, but the bottom of your receipt, when you
Yeah,
take out a book,
yeah.
you just save
Oh, yeah.
$30.
Right,
You know,
right,
if
and
there
it's
was
on
a
the
way to
receipt.
have
Yeah.
that, just for
Oh, I
the
like
last
that.
right here.
Right.
That's a
It-
great
it is
idea.
on the
Have on the
receipts,
receipts,
yeah.
it doesn't
It's
give
just
you
not on
total
the
for the
scan.
year, but it gives you, this checkout saved you $70 or whatever it is.
Right, but if there
I
was a way
think the
to,
new system we have is gonna be able to calculate
To compile it.
lifetime thing, or,
like, just like what.
Yeah.
or whatever
This
it is. I think it is really interesting to look at it that way,
Yeah.
but that doesn't help us in. the
And I
short
think
term.
Alex's idea is a really good one, and I think Saturday, actually, I mean, speaking as someone who has gone on Saturday more than once to the Hingham Post Office for
Yeah.
passport filing, and
Yeah.
it's
A
not,
nightmare.
it is, that's,
You
yes.
really- I mean, it's, the whole program is a little bit challenging because it's actually far more, you need to know a lot of information to do these passports, but it's so worth it because when people come in, they are so happy and they
Mhm.
thank us all the time, and we have, those are Sharon's surplus books, so we have, because it's usually, a lot of times it's parents with a couple of kids, the kids will be reading the books, they're just like, this is so much nicer than being in line at the Hingham Post Office or somewhere else, and so it's a good, it is a revenue maker, but it's also a great
Goodwill.
Community
goodwill.
builder.
It's a community builder, so that's definitely something we have looked at doing more. It's just a matter of staffing at this point, but yeah, maybe we can try to do it's funny, it ebbs and flows, like over holidays, it's super busy. March break will probably be busy, the students are home, or,
Yeah.
because if you're getting one for your child, you have to have them with you. So you have to rather than take them out of school, they like to come, on a Sunday.
Sundays.
On
Yeah.
a Sunday,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So,
All right.
okay, well,
Thank you for all that,
Taking
Robin.
our money and we're
Yeah.
gonna do it on
yeah,
Sundays.
yeah. I will reach out to
Special office
Michelle and
hours,
see what, if there's any, anything we can discuss further. But I do think if US trustees would want to reach out to either select board or some other source, and express that you really would support us being open, I think that would be. I really don't think people are paying attention,
Mhm.
and I think, come next September, it's gonna be a big shock for people if we're not open.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right, so
Anyway, moving on.
do an email campaign or something.
I think that's all. I don't wanna talk anymore.
All right,
We just have the bills, I think, is the only thing left. And,
okay, do we have any questions on the bills? Did people look or
I did.
I scanned over it?
I don't think there was
In the Google
anything,
Drive.
we
Didn't
don't
look
have
like there was
anything.
anything that
It
was
was a
out of the
summary.
usual, yeah.
I don't see anything, the music circus grant is the sign that Carolyn had put up in the hallway. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that is installed now. The J.R. Landry is the newsletter. I don't see anything that's, out of the ordinary, museum, fine arts, and then just a whole lot of materials.
Okay.
supplies.
All right, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Elaine Breslow,
I,
Steve Brown,
Hi.
Catherine Harvey's and I, Alex Lettieri,
Aye.
Susan Putziger,
I,
and Brooke Jewel.
Aye.
All right, that passes. You want to pass it around and we'll sign it?
Oh, I think you.
Do I have it?
don't know.
Oh, I have it.
I don't
Oh,
know.
I do have it.
Okay.
Yeah, I do, but I don't have.
We
a
missed
pen,
Angela.
So I'll pass it.
does Elaine
Here,
have a
there's a pen
first?
here. I wondered why she left me a pen now.
Right, okay. Okay, so from my report, all I have is that, Mary Lou has let me know that she has decided not to run for reelection, which I'm very, very sad about. But I understand she's given so many, many years of faithful service to the library, so she is retiring from her role as a trustee. So if you know anybody who might like to run for trustee, it has been pretty well publicized that no one had pulled papers because it was in the Anchor. And then,
An email.
we got the email, if they came to us. Steve is intending to pull papers, yes? Yes.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And
And
Carol-
here's your note to me.
Oh, okay. And Carolyn has pulled hers, so we have 2 for 3 right now, so we need.
how about the
more.
person that was running
Yeah,
when we were running?
All right. Yeah.
Oh, right, that's
Yeah.
right. I think I was supposed to get in touch with her too. Now, a year later,
I can come here and find out.
yeah,
I think
that
she'd
would be
be
great if she's still
I think she would be
interested.
great.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Melissa, what was her name?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Gosh, I can't
Remember
think of her
that
name,
now.
Lex, but what's her
Begins
name?
with F. What's her last name? F?
Trying to blank right now, 'cause I'm thinking of her kids' names and their kids' names, her last names, their husband's names are Lex.
Oh, here, I
Oh.
signed still.
Oh, okay.
Alex, did you sign?
They did not.
But so
Right.
you
I
can,
have her- I have
you
her
can find
email
her,
address,
yeah. That would be great, thank you.
Wait, this is part of that.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do it, sort it all out.
So that's all I have from me. What else? Friends meeting I missed because I was away. So I don't,
I went,
yeah,
it wasn't,
nothing remarkable.
yeah, I can't think of anything, but.
I have
other than we did
Carolyn
discuss
send
that,
Okay, so I know that I think I reported on this last month, but they are doing great appeal wise, et cetera. They're in a very healthy budget situation.
Yeah.
So-
I know.
It's great for them.
Exactly.
And so I think that's it, unless anybody has anything new that they would like to raise or questions. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm trying to. Hi.
Nisi Mendenhall.
Thank you.
Ah.
Mendenhall, that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great academic name. I wonder if she's